double life of Jeffrey Epstein: power, privilege, and predation. He was a billionaire with friends in high places, a financier with no clear business, yet millions in the bank. But beneath the surface, he was something far more sinister: Jeffrey Edward Epstein, a man whose crimes shocked the world and whose death sparked countless questions that still remain unanswered. This is the story of Jeffrey Epstein, a predator who wore the mask of a philanthropist, a sex trafficker hiding behind wealth, charm, and powerful connections. Let's begin. The making of a mystery man. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born on January 20th, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York. His early life didn't exactly scream future billionaire. He grew up in a working-class family. His father worked for the New York City Parks Department. Despite not graduating from college, Epstein was a math prodigy and landed a job teaching calculus and physics at the prestigious Dalton School in Manhattan in the mid-1970s. It was here, ironically, a school filled with the children of the elite, that Epstein got his first real taste of wealth and influence. It was also where he met Alan Greenberg, the CEO of Bear Stearns, one of Wall Street's most powerful investment banks at the time. Epstein left teaching behind and dove headfirst into finance. Within a few years, he was a rising star. He became a limited partner at Bear Stearns, but mysteriously left the firm in 1981 under vague circumstances. What followed was the beginning of one of the murkiest and most suspicious business careers in modern American history. Epstein founded his own financial management firm, J. Epstein and Company. But here's the strange part. He claimed to only work with billionaires. Not millionaires. Only billionaires. Who were these clients? No one really knows. He was secretive, almost pathologically so. There were no public records of trades, no disclosures, no interviews, just whispers. The island, the plane, and the power. By the early 2000s, Epstein had amassed an empire. He owned properties all over the world, a 72-acre private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, often referred to by locals as Pedophile Island, a New York City townhouse that was reportedly the largest private residence in Manhattan, a ranch in New Mexico, an apartment in Paris, and a mansion in Palm Beach, Florida. He traveled in a private jet known as the Lolita Express and surrounded himself with royalty, celebrities, scientists, and world leaders. Names like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, and Les Wexner, the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, were all publicly associated with him at various points. But beneath this glittering life of power and money, there was darkness. Very few knew the full extent of what Epstein was hiding. But the rumors were growing. The Palm Beach investigation. In 2005, a 14-year-old girl told police in Palm Beach that she had been sexually abused by Epstein at his mansion. She wasn't the only one. The local police began a quiet investigation. What they found was disturbing. Dozens of young girls, many recruited from nearby high schools, had been paid cash for massages that turned into sexual assaults. Many were as young as 13 or 14. Epstein's operation followed a pattern. Teenage girls would be paid to recruit other girls, creating a cycle that resembled a pyramid scheme of sexual exploitation. Police uncovered a black book of names, thousands of dollars in cash, and surveillance footage. A case was building, but Epstein had something more powerful than evidence: connections. Enter Alex Acosta, the U.S. attorney in Miami at the time. In 2008, a secret deal was struck. Epstein pleaded guilty, not to sex trafficking or abuse, but to 2 state charges of soliciting prostitution. One of those charges involved a minor. He was sentenced to 13 months in county jail. But even that was misleading. Epstein was granted work release, which allowed him to leave jail for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And the worst part, the plea deal included non-prosecution agreements for his alleged co-conspirators. The victims were not informed. The public was kept in the dark. It was, by all accounts, a sweetheart deal that kept a predator protected by the system. The survivors speak out. For years, the Epstein case was largely forgotten, buried by time, money, and legal maneuvering. But his victims, brave young women like Virginia Giuffre, Sarah Ransom, and many others, did not forget. They began speaking out, sharing their stories, writing affidavits, appearing in documentaries. They told stories of being groomed, abused, and trafficked to powerful men. Many of them claimed Epstein did not act alone. His longtime companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, was accused of recruiting and manipulating girls on his behalf. In 2018, investigative journalists at the Miami Herald, especially Julie K. Brown, reopened the case in the public eye. Their reporting was damning. It revealed the scale of Epstein's abuse and the failures of the legal system. Public outrage followed. And finally, years too late, the justice system took notice. Arrest and the questions that followed. On July 6, 2019, Epstein was arrested by federal agents at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey after returning from Paris. He was charged with sex trafficking of minors. Prosecutors now claim there were dozens, if not hundreds, of victims over decades. A search of his Manhattan townhouse uncovered nude photographs of underage girls, CDs labeled with names, and a fake passport listing Saudi Arabia as a residence. It was damning. Epstein was denied bail and sent to the Metropolitan Correctional Center, MCC, in New York. He faced 45 years in prison if convicted, but before he could stand trial, he was gone. Death in custody. On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official cause of death? Suicide by hanging. But the circumstances were suspicious. Epstein had reportedly attempted suicide 3 weeks prior and was placed on suicide watch, but was later removed from it. The 2 guards assigned to his unit fell asleep or failed to check on him. The security cameras malfunctioned. His cellmate had been transferred, leaving him alone. And the autopsy raised questions. Some experts noted injuries more consistent with homicide by strangulation than suicide. Conspiracy theories exploded. Some believed he was murdered to protect powerful individuals. Others suggested the system allowed him to end his own life. What's not a theory is this: Epstein died before facing a jury. The fallout in Ghislaine Maxwell. After Epstein's death, the focus turned to Ghislaine Maxwell. She was arrested in July 2020 and charged with multiple counts of sex trafficking, enticing minors, and conspiracy. In December 2021, Maxwell was found guilty on 5 federal counts and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Her trial provided chilling insight into Epstein's world. Lavish parties, private jet flights with teenagers, abuse hidden behind charity events and social gatherings. But even with Maxwell behind bars, many victims still ask the same question: where is the rest of the network? Why have so few others faced consequences? Where are the names in those black books, in the flight logs, in the evidence seized from Epstein's homes? Power, privilege, and justice delayed. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is not just about one man's depravity. It's about how power protects itself. It's about how money can bend the justice system. It's about the bravery of survivors who refuse to stay silent. And it's about the many questions that remain unanswered. As of today, the full truth of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, his connections, and his death remains shrouded in secrecy. But the survivors and the world continue to demand answers. Because sometimes, justice delayed isn't justice denied, it's justice buried. This was the story of Jeffrey Edward Epstein, a man whose life and death exposed the cracks in systems meant to protect the vulnerable and revealed just how deep corruption can go when cloaked in money, mystery, and privilege. This is Blissful Little Life YouTube channel, and subscribe for more voice-only crime stories every week. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and never stop asking questions.